Okay, no, let's continue with our discussion. No? So sa relief from judgments na tayo at saka annulment of judgment, no? So ito pong dalawa na to, kailangan aralin natin to ng hand in hand, no? Kailangan natin siyang aralin ng sabay kasi lagi natatanong po sa bar yung annulment of judgment. At para niyo po malaman na annulment of judgment ang remedy, kailangan alam niyo na hindi relief from judgment ang remedy, no? So kailangan sabay nating aaralin, no? O wag nating aralin ng masyadong isolated. Kasi relate, ano yan eh, sabihin ko na sa inyo, no, magkakadugtong to. Ang unang remedy, motion to set aside the order of default. Next, motion for new trial. Next, relief from judgment. And lastly, annulment of judgment. Sige, ganito, no? Gawin natin, mabilis lang natin itakil tong relief from judgment and then mabilis natin itakil yung annulment of judgment. And then, we will draw, no? Magsusulat ulit tayo sa whiteboard. Paano natin siya pagtatahi-tahiin. Okay? Sige, so sa relief from judgment, no? Extrinsic fraud po ang normal na ground for relief from judgment. Same thing sa annulment of judgment. So what is extrinsic fraud? Extrinsic fraud is extrinsic fraud happens no, when a litigant commits acts outside of the trial which prevents a party from presenting all of his case or from having a real contest between the parties. No? So ano po pinagkaiba ng extrinsic saka intrinsic? Ang intrinsic po, this is fraud in relation or with respect to the issues involved in the case. Examples, incidental fraud at saka causal fraud. Pag magpapa-annulment of deed of sale ka, ano ang magiging issue sa kaso? Insidious words or machinations daw ng defendant. So, na-induce itong party to enter into contract without which he would not have entered into. Diba? That is an intrinsic fraud. No? So, hindi po yan ang ground for relief from judgment. O pag incidental fraud naman, this is fraud in the performance of the contract. So, walang insidious words or machinations, walang inducement na nangyari. Pero, nung pagpe-perform ng defendant, allegedly, ng kanyang obligation, meron siyang fraudulent act na kinumit. Bigyan ko kayo ng quick example for this one. Sabihin natin, naglalakad kayo sa palengke. Ayaw nyo naman bumili ng toyo. Kinumbinsi kayo nung ale na bumili ng toyo. Nung pagbukas nyo ng toyo, hindi pala toyo, black vinegar pala yung binenta sa inyo. That is causal fraud. Kasi, merong insidious words na sinabi etong ale. Toyo, bibigyan bentahan kita ng toyo, and so on and so forth. Nakumbinsi ka ngayon. And without her insidious words, you would not have entered into a contract. That is a causal fraud. Okay. Twist natin ng konti yung facts. Next, naghahanap ka talaga ng toyo sa palengke. Bibili ka. Nakita mo yung ale, pagbilang po ako ng toyo. Nung binigay sa'yo yung toyo, nung pag-check mo sa bahay nyo, nung toyo, hindi pala toyo, black vinegar pala. That is incidental fraud. Correlate na natin sa oblicon din, no? Ano po ang pinakaiba ng dalawa? Ganito lang po ang pag-illustrate niyan para ma-distinguish niyo yung causal at saka incidental. Ang causal, meron po, iba po yung i-deliver sa inyo kumpara sa binili nyo. Ang incidental, same thing. Iba po yung i-deliver sa inyo compared sa binili nyo. Ang pagkakaiba, yung point of being convinced. Were you convinced to buy the product or were you not convinced to buy the product? Gusto mo na talagang bilhin yun. Yun lang po ang pagkakaiba ng causal at saka incidental. Pag kinumbinsi ka pa at saka ka bumili, that is causal fraud. Pag hindi ka kinumbinsi, bumili ka, it's just that iba yung binigay sa'yo, that is incidental fraud. Pero in both scenarios po, walang pagkakaiba. Iba yung binigay sa'yo kumpara sa binenta sa'yo. Yun lang po ang pagkakaiba. O ngayon, ano eventual result niyan? Kapag causal fraud, ang ipa-file na kaso, annulment of deed of sale based on fraud. Kasi ano yan, vitiation of consent. Kapag wala pong causal fraud, kapag incidental fraud, hindi ka pwede magpa-annulment. Diba? Ang ipa-file mo lang dyan, action for damages. In both scenarios, intrinsic fraud po yan. Kasi yun ilalagay mo sa allegations eh. Annulment of deed of sale, ilalagay mo, kinumbinsi niya akong bumili ng toyo. Hindi ko naman gustong bumili. Nung pagbigay sa akin ng toyo, black vinegar pala yung binigay sa akin. Yun ang ground mo, o yun ang allegations mo for the contract to be annulled. Kasi voidable daw ang contract. Pag hindi naman gano'n, gusto mo talagang bumili, it's just that niloko ka nung kausap mo, incidental fraud, action for damages ka lang. Yun ulit ang issue. May incidental fraud po, kaya dapat meron akong damages. May incidental fraud po, kaya dapat bigyan nyo ako ng actual moral exemplary damages and so on. In both scenarios, intrinsic fraud siya. Hindi po yun ang ground para sa relief from judgment. Hindi po yun ang ground para sa motion for new trial. Hindi po yun ang ground para sa motion to set aside the order of default. Hindi po yun ang ground for annulment of judgment. Ang ground po, extrinsic fraud. No? Ano example ng extrinsic fraud? Iminali yung address doon sa allegations para iserve ng sheriff sa maling address yung summons. So ngayon, nagkaroon ng substituted service of summons, nagkaroon ng default, nagkaroon ng judgment, syempre panalo yung plaintiff. Bakit siya nanalo? Kasi ex parte. Hindi nabigyan ng pagkakataon yung defendant para sabihin yung side niya. Kasi minali mo yung address eh. Yan ang usual example niyan. No? Or, another is, inutusan yung plaintiff na iserve yung summons. Nagsinungaling yung plaintiff sa ano niya, sa return. Kasi di ba may sheriff's return? O ito yung plaintiff ang gagawa ng return kasi siya yung mag-serve ng summons. Kailan po nangyayari yan? If the summons has to be served outside the judicial region, o plaintiff ikaw na lang para di na kami mahirapan. Kasi mahirapan naman yung sheriff at lalabas pa ng judicial region, di ba? O yung plaintiff nagsinungaling, na-serve ko na po, hindi naman pala talaga. O nagkaroon ng default kasi di nagkaroon ng opportunity yung defendant to answer. Hindi naman niya alam na may kaso, nagsinungaling yung plaintiff. That is also an extrinsic fraud. Yan po ang ground for relief, annulment, motion for new trial, at saka set aside order of default. Ano lang po ang pagkakaiba kung kailan magiging available yung each remedy. Throwback tayo no, sa motion to set aside order of default muna. Ito pong set aside order of default, kailan mo pwedeng i-avail? Bago magkaroon ng judgment. Ang motion for new trial, when do you avail of this? After final judgment, during the appeal period. Ang relief from judgment, kailan? Ito na po yung next topic. Time to file the petition. May dalawa pong periods na kailangan nating tandaan. Within 60 days from the time he learns of the judgment. So ito po, flexible. Kasi hindi naman natin alam kung kailan malalaman ng defendant, sabi natin defendant, no? We don't know when will the defendant learn of the judgment. We don't know. So ito pong 60 days, flexible yan. Pwedeng 1 taon at saka lang tatakbo yung period, pwedeng 2 taon, pwedeng 3 taon, pwedeng 4 taon, pwedeng 3 araw. We don't know. Kasi subjective po siya sa learning ng defendant. At saka tatakbo 60 days. And the second period, the more important period, etong 6 months from entry of judgment. Ito po, fixed. Walang sinabi na kakaibang walang sinabi na ma-i-extend yung 6-month period, no. Once na enter yung judgment, tatakbo na po yung 6-month period. So paano ngayon pag nalaman lang nung defendant yung judgment against him after 2 years? Pwede eh. 'Di ba learns eh. Oh, saka lang tatakbo 60 days. O ngayon, paano tayo sa 6 months from entry of judgment? Di bagsak tayo dyan, di ba? Kasi 2 years na eh. O, 6 months from entry of judgment, nalaman mo lang after 2 years yung judgment, o di wala na. Di ba? Sablay na tayo sa second period that must be complied with. So, hindi ka na pwede sa relief from judgment, di ba? Yan ang kaya ko sinasabi sa inyo na dapat aralin natin hand in hand ang annulment at saka relief. Kasi ano po ang sabi sa relief, sa annulment of judgment? Punta muna tayo. Yan ang nakalagay 4 years from the date of discovery. O ano yung date of discovery? E di yung learning din. Learning din. Di ba? Oh, 4 years. Mas mahaba ang period. Oh, flexible din yan. Kung nalaman mo yung judgment on the second year, o di plus 4 years pa, may 6 na taong ka basically. Lagpas na lagpas sa 6 months yun. So ano remedy mo? Binigyan na kita ng clue. Annulment. Hindi relief. O paano naman pag nalaman may judgment, 3 araw pa lang from entry. Pwede ka ba mag-annulment? Hindi na pwede. Malalaman natin mamaya, ano? Kaya ko sinasabi sa inyo na dapat kino-correlate, di ba? Tandaan nyo, babalikan natin. Ang pinaka-important na period dito yung 6 months. This is the most important period kasi yun ang fixed. That will be our compass. If ang remedy natin is Rule 38 on relief from judgment or Rule 47 on annulment of judgment, yung 6 months na yan. Okay? Lagay ko na dyan. Note also sa Rule 38, both periods must be complied with, no? Both periods must be complied with. Okay? Sige. Hayaan muna natin to. Just read this yung mga nilagay ko rito mga discussions, no? Gusto kong gamitin yung let's draw this one, no? Let's draw this one out kasi mas magagawa natin ng clear discussion ito pag isinulat ko rather than pag sinabi ko lang sa inyo nakasulat dito, no? Sige. Basahin niyo pa rin to, no? Of course, no? A party who has filed a timely motion for new trial or motion for consideration can no longer file a petition for relief from judgment. So, mode of cancellation po. Mode of cancellation. Kapag nag-motion for new trial ka na na-deny yun, di ka pwede mag-petition for relief for later on. Why? Kasi pareho lang naman yung magiging ground mo eh. Sa motion for new trial, di ka nga pinagbigyan. Walang extrinsic fraud, sabi nung judge. Magpe-petition for relief ka pa ulit. Eh, meron ng conclusiveness, di ba? As to that issue, sinabi na lang wala. So, di ka na pwedeng umulit-ulit. Okay. Next, a petition for relief is not an available remedy in the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeals. Why? Kasi under Section 1, Rule 38 po, a petition for relief from judgment must be filed in the same court and in the same case. Same court, same case. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Trial court ang nagdesisyon. Ipapile mo yung kaso sa trial court at pareho lang din po yung kaso. Pareho lang yung kaso. Same court, same case. Isa pa pong pagkakaiba yan ng relief from judgment at saka annulment. Ang annulment of judgment, saan nyo po ipa-file? Ayan. Petition for annulment of judgment is an independent case. If ang ipa-annul po natin na judgment is decision of the RTC, it must be filed with the Court of Appeals, specifically provided under BP 129. So, hindi siya same court, same case. Different court, different case. Okay, next. The petition can also be filed with the RTC to annul the judgment of the MTC. Different court, different case. This is because the RTC is a court of general jurisdiction naman. Kaya RTC ang doon mo ipa-file yung annulment of judgment pag ang gusto mong pa-annul yung MTC judgment naman. Okay. So, different court, different case. So, dalawa pagkakaiba. Yung periods, mode of cancellation, at saka yung same court, same case. Different court, different case. Okay? Sige. Move tayo. Next pa ulit, no? Ayan, nasa annulment of judgment tayo, no? Basahin nyo na lang po ibang mga nakasulat dito. I would just like to highlight talaga yung whiteboard natin mamaya pag gumawa tayo ng illustration for the both of them. Okay, so what are the grounds for annulment of judgment? Dalawa. Extrinsic fraud at saka lack of jurisdiction. When we say lack of jurisdiction over the subject matter at saka over the person of the defendant, pareho pong covered yan. Tandaan po natin, I would like to emphasize na itong lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant, this only applies if action in personam, yung action. Kasi kung in rem yan o quasi in rem, you cannot allege na this judgment must be annulled because there is no jurisdiction over the person of the defendant. That's not allowed. That's not possible. Kasi jurisdiction over the rest or the thing itself lang naman ang kailangan sa in rem at sa quasi in rem. So, circle back na naman tayo sa mga general principles ng civil procedure. Kaya pang civil procedure talaga, actually any remedial law subject for this matter, no? Hindi po talaga kailangan ng yung sobrang daming kasong binabasa. Ang kailangan nyo talaga, Kaya niya talagang pagtahi-tahiin ng mga bagay-bagay kasi bumabalik eh. Tumo-throwback. Nakikita niyo to lalo na sa evidence. Nasa Rule 131 na tayo, bumabalik pa tayo sa Rule 128. Something like that. Umiikot talaga. Ganun. Ganun po ang pag-aaral ng remedial law. Stick to the caudals, konting cases. And then you try yourself, ganun pala. Sige, tatlong parts yan. Stick to the caudal, pagtahi-tahim, basa ng konting, ng kahit pa paano, konting cases, andito naman ako para sa inyo, para malaman nyo na yung mga kailangan yung kasong aralin. Pangatlo, once nagkaroon na kayo ng medyo surface level na kaalaman sa remedial law, punta agad sa bar exam questions. Magsagot agad. Yan ang formula para pumasa kayo sa remedial law. You cannot study the same way sa criminal law, sa commercial law, wala, hindi pala. Sa criminal law, sa political law, si first year yan. You cannot study the same way sa criminal law at saka sa remedial law. Hindi pwede na, paano mo inaral ang political law, ganun din ang remedial law. Iba. Iba. Sa remedial law, ang emphasis nyo dapat dun sa pagsasagot. Kasi napakadami infinite ways para kayo matanong sa remedial law. Infinite ways. Kasi may process yan eh, di ba? Procedure. Magmali ka lang ng isang phase ng procedure, that's one question. Another phase ng procedure, another question. Hindi kailangan ng kaso para madaming maitanong sa inyo. Kaya ang kailangan nyo, makover nyo lahat ng mga senaryo na tinanong nung unang panahon. And then you answer accordingly, you answer correctly. Ganun po ang style. Hindi ito katulad ng political law na hintayin natin yung question. Martial law, ganyan. Ano ang desisyon ng court? O, basahin natin yan. Kahit pa paano, kaya na nating sabihin sa exam. Yung sagot. Hindi po ganun. Sa criminal law, pwede rin, no? Kasi elements lang naman yan of the crime eh. Sa civil law, pwede rin, no? Magbabasa-basa din ng kaso, especially sa sa persons, no? May mga kaso-kaso din. Iba po talaga ang remedial law. Yun lang ang point ko. Pero sa civil law, may mga pagkakataon na caudal heavy naman. Like obli, no? Like wills, caudal heavy talaga, no? Maraming kasing subjects ng civil law. So may pagkakataon na case heavy, may pagkakataon na caudal heavy, no? Depende sa kaso. Torts is also case heavy, di ba? Torts and damages. Yung mga res ipsa loquitur, loquitur, no? Mga ganyan. Okay. Commercial law, ganun din. Minsan caudal heavy, minsan case heavy. Okay. Well, ethics, bagong-bago kasi. So, ang forecast ko dyan, puro caudal talaga kasi bago lahat ng provisions eh. Labor, halo yan. Labor standards, case, heavy. Ang labor relations, caudal at saka sagot-sagot, no? Ang remedial law talaga, lahat po kabuuan. Caudal heavy at saka sagot ng sagot talaga dapat. Ibang iba po talaga ang discipline. Makikita nyo. Pag ginawa nyo yung sinasabi ko, ang dali pala ng remedial law. Hindi pala ganun kahirap. Mali lang ako ng pag-aaral. Mali lang ako ng pag-aaral. Pero kayang-kaya naman pala. Remedial law is all about giving yourself, hindi pala giving yourself, putting yourself in multiple scenarios. Yun. Putting yourself or answering multiple scenarios talaga para makover nyo lahat ng bases. Yun lang yun. Ganun lang. Tapos later on, marami na kayong mga scenarios na nakita sa mga bar questions. Later on, makikita nyo na, kahit pala hindi ko na nasagot sa bar question yung scenario na itatanong sa akin, kaya ko na rin i-navigate. Kasi ganun lang eh. It's all about parang solving a puzzle. Ganun. Kasi procedure nga eh, duktong-duktong. Una, kailangan mo muna ng gabay. Tingnan mo muna kung paano nagtatanong ang examiner. Kasi gano'n lang din naman, no? Hindi naman masyadong kakaiba yung magiging tanong sa inyo. Probably similar to those previous bar questions din. Tapos later on, dahil nakikita niya talaga yung full picture ng procedure, kahit na hindi na bar question yan, kaya mo pa rin sagutin. Kaya mo pa rin sagutin. Ganun po ang style. Okay? So, annulment of judgment tayo. Again, same principles po, extrinsic fraud. Alam na natin yan. 4 times lalabas si extrinsic fraud, ha? New trial, set aside order of default, relief from judgment, annulment of judgment. So, I hope you understand this fully. How does this happen? Normally, nagkakaroon ng problema sa extrinsic fraud pag sa service of summons. No? Nandadaya yung plaintiff, hindi ma-serve yung summons sa defendant. Okay? Sige, next. Ito ang important. Extrinsic fraud shall not be a valid ground if it was availed of or could have been availed of in a motion for new trial or petition for relief. Wag muna tayo sa new trial, sa petition for relief tayo kasi yan talaga yung magkapatid eh. Ang ibig lang po sabihin nito, if the ground of the petition is extrinsic fraud at may pagkakataong kang erase ito sa petition for relief, hindi ka na pwede mag-file ng petition for annulment of judgment. So nagkaroon ka ng o nawalan ka ng remedy kasi negligent ka. Kung may pagkakataon na erase mo ang extrinsic fraud, nung available pa ang petition for relief from you at hindi ka nag-file ng petition for relief, nung available pa ito for you, hindi ka na pwedeng magpa-file pa ng annulment of judgment later on. Kasi kasalanan mo. Kahit totoo namang piniki, dinaya ka ng plaintiff. Kahit totoo naman yun. Kasalanan mo kasi hindi ka nag-file agad-agad. Okay? Sige. On the other side, if the petition for annulment of judgment is based on lack of jurisdiction, pwedeng subject matter, pwedeng person of the defendant, it need not allege that the ordinary remedies of new trial, reconsideration, appeal, dagtong ko to, or petition for relief were no longer available through no fault of his. What do we mean by this? Pag po lack of jurisdiction, okay lang kung medyo naging negligent yung defendant sa pagpa-file. Hindi naman negligent, pero hindi siya agad nag-file. Sabihin natin, nalaman niya yung judgment agad-agad nung nagkaroon ng entry. Hindi siya nag-file ng petition for relief. Nag-file lang siya after 2 years. Pag lack of jurisdiction po, ang ground natin, okay lang. Pakikinggan pa rin ng court yung petition for annulment of judgment. Pwede. Why? Kasi lack of jurisdiction yung ground. And a judgment based on a judgment by a court without jurisdiction is null and void. Yan. A judgment rendered issued by the trial court without jurisdiction is null and void and may be assailed anytime. Either collaterally or in a direct action. In this case, direct action to kasi annulment of judgment nga. So pag lack of jurisdiction, since the judgment is void ab initio, kahit na available ang petition for relief from judgment dati sa petitioner, hindi siya nag-file. Nag-file lang siya nung gusto niya annulment of judgment na pwede. Okay? Pwede. No? So, ayan. I hope na intindihan po natin. Pag extrinsic fraud, if na-avail mo ang extrinsic fraud through a petition for relief from judgment, hindi ka nag-file. Nag-file ka lang annulment, tapos extrinsic fraud ang ground mo, denied, ay di pala denied, dismissed yung petition. Dismissed yung petition. Pag lack of jurisdiction, hindi po dismiss. We proceed with the petition. Okay? We proceed with the petition. Okay? Sige. Prescriptive period for petition for annulment of judgment. Extrinsic fraud, ulitin ko, 4 years from date of discovery. So, flexible. Kasi, subjective ang discovery. Subjective ang learning. Diba? O pag naman lack of jurisdiction before it is barred by estoppel or laches. So, wala. Essentially. Wala. Ano ba yung estoppel or laches na? Ito yung Tiham versus Sibong Hanoy, guys. Pag hindi same yung if the factual milio is not the same, 'di ba? As Tiham versus Sibong Hanoy, pwede kang mag-lack of jurisdiction anytime. Pwede. Pwede yun doon tayo, 'di ba? We follow yung general rule na anytime pwede. Kasi ang hirap pong maging katulad yung factual milio ng Tiham versus Sibong Hanoy. If you read the full case of that case, no? Full text of that case, mababasa niyo napakadaming naganap doon sa kaso na yun. No? So hindi naman, I predict hindi naman ganun itatanong sa inyo sa bar kasi masyado na magiging mahaba yung bar question. Okay. So yan, nataka na natin Okay. Atake na natin lahat, no? Ganito gagawin natin. Magdodraw tayo and then sasagutan natin ito. Kasi ito mahirap yung tanong. This is a 20... Anong year ba itong bar question? This is a bar question, no? Bar question, itong itatanong natin, no? Sa inyo. Kung nailagay pala ko anong year. Pero bar question to. Okay, let's proceed, no? Gawa tayo. Share screen ko yung ano natin. Whiteboard. Yan. Okay. What did I say earlier? Ang pinaka-important sa annulment of judgment yung 6 months. 6-month period. So, sa left side, relief. Sa right side, annulment. So, annulment sa extrinsic fraud pa lang tayo, no? 6 months. Okay. Sabihin natin, ito yung facts, no? Burahin natin ng konti pala dito. Let's erase this. Ayan. Okay. Ayan. Sabihin natin, ayan. Ano ang facts? Sabihin natin, Mr. A. Si Mr. A yung defendant. Learned of the judgment. One year after entry. What's the remedy? Ito. No? Kasi he could not have availed of petition for relief kasi nga yung 6 months elapsed na from entry of judgment. Oh, so ano, walang remedy yung defendant? Siyempre, Mr. A, di ba? Unfair naman yun. Eh, di naman siya magkakaroon ng pagkakataong i-file yung relief kasi nalaman lang yung judgment. 1 taon na nakalipas. Hindi ka pwede mag-relief from judgment kasi 6-month period from entry of judgment elapsed na. O next, facts. Oh, facts ulit. Mr. A learned of the judgment 3 months after entry. What's the remedy? Relief. Relief ang remedy kasi nalaman mo siya within 6 months from entry of judgment. So, available siya. Di ba? Available siya. So, with that being said, since available siya, we follow the 2 periods. 60 days from learning. Di ba? Learning. 6 months from entry. Pasok, di ba? 60 days from that 60 days from the third month. O di, sabihin natin, 30-30. O, di 5 months. Pasok, di ba? Hanggang 5th month lang ang ano niya, ang period to file. O, di ba relief dapat? Pag hindi ka extrinsic fraud to, extrinsic fraud. Pag hindi nag-file si Mr. A ng petition for relief from judgment, hindi ka pwedeng tumalon dito later on. Di ba? Kasi extrinsic fraud, not a valid ground if petition for relief could have been availed of. Diba? Under Rule 47. Hindi ka pwedeng tumalon. Diba? So, yan po ang style. Okay, next tayo. Same lang ulit. Oh, diba? Napaka-important ng 6 months na yan. Ganun ulit. Ayan. Relief. Annulment. Bihin natin lack of jurisdiction over the person. O lack of jurisdiction. Ayan ang ground. O same facts, no? Dalawang facts. Unang facts. Mr. A learned 1 year after entry. Eh, dito talaga yan. Di ba? No problem. Wala tayong issue dyan kasi hindi sagot natin kanina sa extrinsic fraud, di ba? O, Mr. A learned 3 months after entry. O, what's the remedy? Dito ka. Di ba? Kasi pasok eh. Could have availed of. Di ba? Pasok sa 6 months period. 6-month period from entry of judgment. So, pasok. Di ba? So we follow the two periods. Diba? 60 days, learning, di ba? At saka 6 months from entry. O attorney, paano pag sabihin natin, nagdili-dali siya, hindi siya nag-file agad ng petition for relief? Kasi nahirapan siya maghanap ng abogadong pagkakatiwalaan niya. Hmm. Nag-file siya kailan? After 2 years. Oh, nag-file siya ng petition. Tanong, ano yung petition na ifa-file niya? Hindi na pwedeng relief kasi 2 years na nga nakalipas from entry. Ano ipapile niya? Annulment. Tanong, pwede pa bang mag-annulment? Yes. Pwede pang mag-annulment. Diba? Kasi lack of jurisdiction yung ground. Next scenario. Isa pa. Lack of jurisdiction over the person ulit, no? Sige, 6 months ulit. Kakaiba, no? The way we, no? The way we understand, no? I hope matandaan po natin, no? Annulment. Ayan. O, lack of jurisdiction over the person ulit, no? Ayan. O, same facts ulit. Mr. A learned 1 year, di ba? 1 year from entry. Next. Mr. A learn 3 months from entry. Ayan. O, pag 1 year, same lang. Annulment. No problem. Di ba? Kapag 3 months, dito. Di ba? Dito. O, so, ano yung period? 60 days at saka 6 months. By the way, kaya ka pala na ilagay dito. Balik tayo dito. Hindi pala lack of jurisdiction over the person na magiging ground niya dito. Extrinsic fraud. Dito, lack of jurisdiction. Yun pala. Okay lang din naman kasi nga, ba't ka nawawala ng jurisdiction over the person of the defendant? Di ba invalid service of summons? O paano magkakaroon ng invalid service of summons? May extrinsic fraud. Yun pala. O, di ba? Ayusin natin to. I-recap natin to ulit. Para malinaw. Kasi baka isipin nyo, lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant, pwedeng ground sa relief, no? Ayusin natin. Ayan. Recap natin muna to. EF. And, yan pala. Lack of J over person. Yan. Okay, so paano ulit? 6 months, hati, di ba? Relief at saka annulment, both sides. First facts, Mr. A learned the judgment 1 year after the entry of judgment. Annulment tayo. Second facts, Mr. A learned of the judgment 3 months after entry. Relief ka. Relief ka. Ano ground mo? Extrinsic fraud. Di ba? Nagkaroon po ng invalid service of summons kasi minali niya address ko. Alam naman niya kung ano yung tamang address, pero minali niya para hindi niya ma-serve sa akin ng tama. Extrinsic fraud ng ground mo. So, do you follow the two periods? 60 days, 6 months. Goods. Oh. Hindi ka ngayon nakapag-file. Kasi nga, ano ka sa lawyer mo, no? Hindi ka patiwala. So, naghanap ka pa ng mapapagkakatiwalaan mong lawyer. What happens now? 2 taon nang nakalipas at saka ka nag-file pa lang ng petition. What's the remedy? Annulment of judgment. Pwede pa. Kasi lack of jurisdiction, ang magiging ground mo rito, hindi extrinsic. Pag extrinsic fraud din ang ground mo sa annulment of judgment mo, deads. Dismiss yan, di ba? Kasi extrinsic fraud shall not be a valid ground if you could have availed of petition for relief from judgment under Rule 47. Pero pag lack of jurisdiction yan, pwede ka pang mag-file ng annulment of judgment. Kasi a judgment by the trial court without jurisdiction over the case, di ba, shall be null and void. So it can be assailed, it can be attacked anytime. So pwede check tayo. Oh, ito pala yung third scenario. Ayan. Next tayo. Ayan. EF din at saka lack of J, no? EF and lack of J over person of the defendant. O, ayan. O dito, EF, di ba? Kasi nga, wala namang lack of jurisdiction over the person sa relief eh. Sa annulment, lack of jurisdiction over the person. Ayan. Okay. So, ang facts ulit, Mr. A learned of the judgment after 1 year from entry. Annulment, walang problema. Mr. A learned of the judgment 3 months from entry of judgment. So, relief ka. Diba? 60 days. 6 months. We need to follow both. Ito po ang lalagyan ko ng twist. Sabihin natin, ang action is, sabihin natin, annulment of marriage. Annulment of marriage. Huwag pa lang annulment of marriage. Pwede pala. Annulment of marriage na lang. Or, sabihin natin, ito yung mga action. Annulment of marriage, foreclosure, correction of entry, ano pa, partition, yung mga yan. Okay? Okay tayo, no? Ito pong foreclosure, alam naman natin, quasi-in rem yan. No? Partition, quasi-in rem. Correction of entry, in rem. Annulment of marriage, in rem. Kasi annulment of marriage, we declare the status of the parties, di ba? From married to single. Oh. Correction of entry, we establish a fact naman. Ano yung pangalan talaga ng tao? Ano yung tamang edad ng tao? And so on. O foreclosure, quasi-in rem kasi you subject the property to a burden Di ba? You subject the property, real property, sabihin natin foreclosure of real property ito, to a burden. What's the burden? The foreclosure. Partition, same thing. Ano yung burden dito? Ano yung property dito? Yung co-owned property. What's the burden? Pag-partition. Maghiwa-hiwalay na natin. That's the burden. Okay, so in all of these scenarios, quasi-in rem or in rem yan. Oh, with that being said, pwede bang tumalon tayo, sabihin natin na i-file niya yung kaso, 2 years na lang. Oh. Hindi siya tiwala sa abogado, nagpali siya ng kaso after 2 years from entry of judgment. Pwede ba bang tumalon yung petitioner from relief to annulment? The answer is no na. Why? Kasi lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant is not necessary in this scenario, in these scenarios, in these instances, in these cases. Hindi na pwede yan. No? So, dismiss ang petition kasi nga, that is not needed in the first place. Why are you annulling the judgment based on that ground? Diba? That ground is not even available for these actions. So, pwede kang mag-extrinsic fraud. Hindi din. Why? Kasi, you could have availed of petition for relief, but you didn't. So, may negligence under Rule 47, extrinsic fraud shall not be a valid ground if you could have availed of petition for relief from judgment. So, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-annulment of judgment because you do not have any ground to annul the judgment. Bawal ang lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant kasi hindi naman kailangan yung jurisdiction in the first place. Hindi ka rin pwedeng mag-extrinsic fraud. So, hindi ka pwedeng tumalon. Kaya pag ang action mo is in rem or quasi-in rem and petition for relief was available to you, you need to file it as soon as possible. Kasi kung hindi, wala kang remedy na annulment of judgment. Hindi ka na pwedeng magpa-annulment of judgment under Rule 47. Mahirapan ka dyan. See? So, yan po, Yung unang scenario, basic. Kasi extrinsic fraud lang both scenarios, no? Alam natin na hindi pwedeng tumulon pag available ang petition for relief, tapos hindi mo final, tapos mag-annulment ka, hindi pwede. Itong next, pag lack of jurisdiction, pwede kang tumalon. Extrinsic fraud yung relief mo, and then sa annulment mo, lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant. Kasi ang parehong basis nito, invalid service of summons Bakit invalid ang service of summons dito? Pineki mo yung address ko. O dito, kaya nagkaroon ng lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant kasi invalid yung service of summons in the first place. Same ang pinanggagalingan nila, iba lang yung ground. Okay? Same yung parang factual circumstance. Yung pangatlo, ito yung medyo mas mahirap. Naglagay tayo ng another twist sa facts. Yung action mo in rem o quasi in rem. Yung could have availed of relief, hindi mo ginawa, hindi ka na makakapag-annulment due to absence of a ground for you. Bawal ka mag-extrinsic fraud kasi you could have availed of, hindi mo ginawa. Hindi ka rin pwede mag-lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant kasi this is not even needed. This jurisdiction is not even needed for in rem at saka quasi in rem. Kompletuhin ko lang pala. Quasi in rem, di ba, is an action where the interest over or the interest of the defendant over the property is subjected to a burden. Yung pala. Interest ng defendant over the property is subjected to a burden. Ayun. Okay. Foreclosure sa partition, quasi in rem. Yan. Okay. With that being said, no, share ko ulit yung ating reviewer, no, yung civil procedure natin. Pakikita ko sa inyo yung bar question, no, tackling this topic. Okay. Ayan. Okay. Mr. A filed with the RTC a petition for declaration of nullity of his marriage with Miss B on the ground of psychological incapacity, no? Before filing the petition, Mr. A had told Miss B that he wanted the annulment of their marriage because he was already fed up with her behavior. Hindi kailangan yan. Hindi naman civil law yung tanong eh, remedial law. So, let's move. No? However, in the petition for declaration of nullity of marriage, the correct residential address of Miss B was deliberately not alleged. And instead, the residential address dapat yan, hindi resident address. The residential address of their married son was stated. Summons was served by substituted service. Okay? At the address stated in the petition. Failure to file an answer, nagkaroon ng default, and Mr. A presented evidence ex parte. In the first place, delikado na nga agad dyan eh. Diba? Hindi naman pwedeng magkaroon ng default sa declaration of nullity. Anyways, let's move, diba? Sa under Rule 9. The RTC rendered judgment declaring the marriage null and void. Siyempre, dahil ex parte nga, o di lahat ng sa loobin lang ni Mr. A yung di ba? Na ilagay sa put on the record, no? Okay. 3 years after the RTC judgment was rendered, Miss B got hold of a copy thereof and wanted to have the RTC judgment reversed and set aside. If lawyer ka ni Miss B, what's the remedy? No? Discuss and specify the ground. Ano yung remedy mo? Uulitin natin, 6 months from entry, lamagpas na eh. 3 taon na lumipas eh. Di ba? Oh, what's your remedy? Lack of jurisdiction over the subject matter ba? No. Kasi tama naman yung court of jurisdiction. No problem. Lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant ba? No. Why? Kasi nullity of marriage is an action in rem. Jurisdiction over the person of the defendant is not necessary. What's your ground? Extrinsic fraud. Kasi Miss B was prevented from presenting her side. Diba? Due to the fraudulent act of Mr. A. Extrinsic fraud, ang ground natin. Pwede ba yun? Yes. Pwede, no? By the way, yung pong pagtakbo ng 4-year period, hindi tatakbo from entry. Tandaan natin, ha? 3 years plus 4. So, sa 7 taon yan. Kasi 3 years lang at saka lang siya nagkaroon ng copy ng judgment. O, di doon pa lang tatakbo yung, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Magiging 7 taon yan. Okay? So, the proper remedy is annulment of judgment based on extrinsic fraud. Okay. Ayan. Okay. So, what's the ground ulit? Extrinsic fraud, no? Ayan. Okay na yan, no? Just read the answer. Okay. Can the petition for annulment of judgment be filed based on lack of jurisdiction over the person of Miss B? No. Kasi nga action in rem. Okay? You just declare the status of the parties eh. From married to single. O, yan? In rem. So, hindi pwede. What if Miss B learned of the judgment 1 month after its entry? Can a petition for annulment of judgment based on extrinsic fraud be filed? No. Kasi extrinsic fraud shall not be a valid ground if it could have been availed of in a petition for relief. Diba? So, di pwede. What if Miss B learned of the judgment 1 month after its entry? Can a petition for annulment of judgment based on lack of jurisdiction over the person of Miss B be filed? Hindi din pwede. Kasi nga, it's an action in rem. So, ang suma total po niyan, gusto ko lang i-point out, kapag action in rem, tapos nalaman ng defendant yung judgment before the 6-month period expires, tapos magpapile lang siya ng kaso years after the judgment was entered, patay tayo dyan. Hindi ka pwede mag-extrinsic fraud kasi nga, you could have availed of relief but you didn't. Hindi ka pwede mag-lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant because that jurisdiction is not necessary for actions in rem and quasi in rem. Yun po yung gusto kong i-point out sa atin. I hope naintindihan po natin yung annulment of judgment sa relief from judgment, no? Tapos na tayo. Iba ko mga nilagay ditong notes, pakibasa na lang po. Pero yun essentially, yung kailangan nyo lang malaman dyan, yung interplay ng dalawang rules. At pag nalaman nyo, naintindihan nyo based on how I explained it, and yung reviewer natin, masasagot nyo na talaga yung question. Pag yan ang tinanong sa inyo. Nakita nyo yung interplay, di ba? Ang daming moving parts. Di ba? Ang daming moving parts. Balik tayo dun sa whiteboard na ginawa natin. No? Di ba? Ang daming moving parts. Titignan mo yung ground. Extrinsic fraud sa relief. Sa annulment of judgment, may pagkakataong pwedeng extrinsic fraud din. Pwedeng lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant. Titignan mo yung period. Titignan mo kailang na-learn. Titignan mo kailan nagkaroon ng entry. See? Maraming moving parts. So, maintindihan niyo yung interplay ng dalawang rules. Not by reading cases, but by actually dissecting the rules. Checking paano ang relasyon nila. No? I hope, kung hindi niyo po naintindihan, medyo magulo, balik-balikan po natin yung discussion. Balik-balikan po natin. Nakita nyo naman, first one is the basic example. Second one, medyo mas mahirap. Third one, ito talaga yung challenging. Okay? Okay? Ayan. No? So, pag-action in personam yan, walang problema. Di ba? Kung di mo nadala ng extrinsic fraud, banata mo ng lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant later on. Kasi required yun, di ba? Kasi in personam eh. Ano example ng in personam na action? Specific performance. Action reivindicatoria. Publisyana. Forcible entry. Collection of sum of money. No? Action for damages. O mga yan. Pag ganung action, pwede kayong lumipad from extrinsic fraud to a lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant. Pwede. So makakapag-annulment ka pa rin. So ito, follow nyo second. Diba? O itong una naman, hindi pwede mag-extrinsic fraud ka rin sa annulment of judgment. Diba? Mali yun, diba? Ano siya, medyo mahina pag ganun ang ginawa mo kasi outright dismissal. Okay. So, kailangan nang gagamitin mong ground lack of jurisdiction over the person of the defendant. Kung action in personam. Ito yung last part, yung action in rem sa quasi in rem. So, hindi talaga pwede. Pag in rem ang quasi in rem, you have to be diligent. Kung mayroon ng relief from judgment, file mo na. Pag hindi, deads tayo kasi hindi ka na makakapag-annulment. Okay? Sana po naintindihan natin, no? That ends our discussion for Rule 38 and Rule 47, no? We will discuss execution, no? Sa next lecture. Okay, sige po.